Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and I thought today we'd talk about the brands that I trust and I use. No, this is not a sponsorship program. This is the tools that I buy, and the vehicles that I buy, and the lawn and garden equipment that I buy. Because for me, well, hold on. We'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. Today I thought we'd talk about chainsaws.
All right, so welcome back. So what am I talking about when I'm the different brands that I use? Well, here's my train of thought is from being a farmer and working on equipment and stuff like that, the biggest headache I have is breakdowns, right? And what I've tended to do over the years is I gravitate towards stuff that doesn't require a lot of maintenance, that isn't constantly breaking down or in the shop somewhere, and that does what I want it to do when I want to do it. That's the key. So here are some of the brands that I can talk to you about. And let's go with vehicles. Now, I have Ford. Why do I have Ford? Because when I first started out, I used to be a Chevrolet guy, you know. That's what my grandparents, Chevrolet GMC. And I just didn't have very good luck with them. Not like my grandparents did, anyways. And it may have been because they did a lot more maintenance. They made sure that everything was kept up to snuff. You know, had it in them for regular checkups and this and that. But farming it, what you end up doing is you really find out how good something really is, because it does get abused, okay? And Fords have been just that product line, that vehicle, especially their pickups. That's what I'm talking about, is their pickups. I don't know anything about their cars, but I know about their pickup trucks. And I've owned probably around 10, 11 different Fords. And they have exceeded my expectations. Now, granted, my last Ford, and this is going to get you. It's my 2021, the F-150 FX4. It's had about 11 recalls since I've owned it. 11. A lot of them were just updates. And I didn't know, because it come across my screen in my truck. It said, schedule maintenance uploads. Vehicle will not be in operation for the next 5 minutes. Okay to continue. Yeah. I'll wait 5 minutes, right? And what it's doing is it's downloading, just like your phone or your home computer with the internet, you know. It's downloading and updating their software. And I think you're going to find that gets even more and more. And my question for you on this is, as we get more complex, is it really doing us good? See, now, my theory has always been is less is more. The less crap you have in that vehicle, the better off you are. You know, if I could buy a plain Jane with still, you know, roll up and roll down windows, lockout hubs, standard transmission, and not have it rely so much on a computer, I would in a heartbeat. But with my 2021, I got, which Claude and I love, especially this cold weather and stuff, the heated seats. Oh, you gotta have the heated seats, right? Get in there nice and toasty warm. And I've got the, car starter with my fob so I can start my vehicle 8-10 minutes before I go out. And my windshield is defrosted, everything else. I just got to push down on the brake and push the button to physically have the truck start to run in normal mode. But it's come from years of using Ford pickups and the abuse that I've put them through. See, I don't buy a vehicle just because she looks pretty, and I'm not the type of person that's going to be polishing and car washing it all the time, trying to keep everything from the inside to the outside nice and clean. And no, it's a work truck. So I told my son, he said, "Dad, you've already got dirt in it." Yeah, it's a work truck. What do you expect? So I tend to gravitate towards stuff that doesn't require a lot of maintenance and performs when you want to perform. So that brings us to the shop. What are some of the tools and products that we use that I swear by? And one of them, top of the list, is my Dewalts. Okay, I've got Portacable. I bought the set years ago with all the different attachments, and back then, I think they were like 12 or something like that volts. But when Dewalt came out with the 20 volt hand tools, I was skeptical. All right. And what I wanted for the shop was I watched on a couple of the old TV shows. I shouldn't say old, but the older ones. And most of the mechanics were using a hand-powered snap-on, to do work on their cars. And I told Claude, I said, wouldn't that make life so much easier if we had something that had the power to take, an actual impact wrench. And at the time when we first got into Dewalt, they were really expensive. All right. And I wanted to see if it was a worthwhile investment to have it. So they finally come out with a 20 volt Dewalt impact wrench. Not the impact driver. It's a totally different one. The impact wrench that you put sockets on is 3/8 drive. And that thing got abused. Terrible in the shop. And I said, you know what? I got to have one for the farm. Because I have disc mowers that if you hit a rock or this or that if it bends the blade, then you just take the impact wrench with a screwdriver on the bottom so it holds it up, and it would spin the bolt or the nut right out the bolt, take the knife that got bent, give her a toss, put a new knife on, hit it with the impact wrench, and back you go again. So I have a second one that's a 20 volt. So I started building a set of tools around it. And if you look right off to this side, this is just part of my 20 volt set. Okay. And they weren't bought as a set. I bought them individual. So I've got like 4 or 5 different chargers here for my 20 volts. And I just recently had one of my, because they come with 2 different style batteries for them, right? They're both 20 volt, but one is the sleek, low profile, and then you have the bigger one that carries a charge longer. And we run the small, smaller batteries on these Dewalts, and then I have a bigger battery that I bought when I think I bought the drill, and it came with the charger and the bigger battery. But I've only had I've had DeWalt now for 8-10 years. That I've only had one battery go bad where it wouldn't even take a charge. It wouldn't even show a light when I put it into the charger. But I think I told you guys, the only time I ever had problems with that impact wrench was when Claude had it sitting on the fender of a tractor and it went into a 5-gallon bucket of hydraulic fluid. And we couldn't find it until the following morning when we were going to put the hydraulic fluid back into that tractor. And there it was at the bottom of the thing. So Claude took and blew it all out with the air gun, tried cleaning it up the best he could with some gas, letting it air dry. And a couple days later, we popped the battery in it. Didn't that freaking thing work? It worked after being in that hydraulic fluid overnight. The only drawback was it was shooting sparks. And that made me a little on the nervous side. So we finally retired that one. And I bought Claude another new one for out in the shop. But I don't have like the Sawzalls and all that stuff. I've got the drills, the impact drill, the impact wrench. I've got a impact driver coming that I just ordered off from eBay. One of their sellers had, I didn't need the batteries. I got plenty of batteries. So all I needed was just the actual, driver, impact driver, for like $60, free shipping. Right to my door. But I would recommend them to anybody, the 20-volt class, because of their durability. We put them through, the drills, we use those all summer long, all spring and all summer fixing fence. And I got a lot of fence that we fix. It's mainly electric. So on the poles, we have cedar poles in the ground, every 8 to 10 feet, and we run 3 strands. So we have to screw in the insulators that hold the electric fence wire. And we found a company over in the UK that made this specialty tool that would go right onto one of our drills, that would spin these in for us instead of having to take and put a screwdriver through it and then just keep turning around and around. We started using the drills to do that. And we also do all of our own carpentry work. When it comes to putting the roof and putting up the new addition on the house, we did that with all screws and battery operated stuff. And why do we go with screws versus nails, right? Because if I want to tear it apart, I can tear it apart and just pull the screws out. I don't know if you guys have ever tried pulling boards apart with nails in them. It's a pain in the backside. This way, you can at least just back them out. Same thing with roofing. We have a special tool that goes right on. I've got an impact drill driver, and it works great because before we were taking and actually putting the screw in the drill and then hitting the back of the drill to punch a little bit of a hole in the tin to start it. And this impact driver drill does that for you. You just keep steady pressure on it and she pops right in. And they last between charges really good. So I would highly recommend the Dewalt brand, the 20 volt series. I don't know about any of the other ones. I can just testify to the 20 volt series that they have held up and have exceeded my expectations of a good tool for the farm and for the shop. Now, when it comes to hand tools, you know, I have a complete craftsman set in my toolbox, okay? And mainly because for one Christmas, my wife bought me all craftsman instead of, Harbor Freight and Walmart, which I regularly visit. But the majority of the tools that I get for the shop are Harbor Freight. The majority of the tool kits that are in the 3 trucks, Walmart. Walmart puts out a good, I think it's gear wrench or something like that. We like those in the trucks because it carries a metric, SAE, hand wrenches. I don't care about the pliers, screwdrivers, and all that stuff because I buy the screwdriver sets at Harbor Freight. I buy the pry bar set at Harbor Freight. I mean, we equip each truck like we're going to have to work on a job like we would in the shop. We have a lot more tools available to us in the shop, but we carry a lot of tools in the truck. We don't carry the impact wrenches and stuff like that. But if we know we're going on a job where we could use it, we throw it into the truck in a box. And then all of our electrical stuff we have in the shop. And if we're going to go do something on an electrical job, we'll throw those boxes in and take them with us when we get there. But I kind of started using Craftsman years ago, but back then they guaranteed all their stuff. And I don't think they're doing much when it comes to guaranteeing. But I still love the Craftsman brand. Our Snap-on, Mac, S&K, a higher quality tool? Absolutely. But what I found is we at the shop can get by with Harbor Freight or Walmart, even though we're using them a lot. And if we do snap a socket, just for that one socket, but I know, before you say anything, my son is Snap-on. If he breaks a socket, they replace it. If he breaks, any one of those tools that are Snap-on, it's automatically they just pull it off the truck and swap it out with him. No cost. But you're paying for it in the beginning, right? When Claude was a mechanic working car dealerships and stuff, his whole toolbox was strictly Snap-on. And I think you heard him in the snowboard video we were talking about my son. It's pretty easy to get into pretty good debt with Snap-on with that truck rolling in once a week with all their newest gadgets and scan tools and everything else. Okay, so now we're to lawn and garden. John Deere. Now I've got 4 John Deere tractors that I've had for the farm for years. None of them are cab tractors, but I decided here a couple of years back that I wanted to get a cab tractor, at least to get the wind off me, because it's brutal when it's 20 below zero out and you're trying to feed your beef cows and that wind is cutting right through you, right? But I wasn't willing to pay the $30,000 to $60,000 that John Deere wanted for one of theirs, right? So I kept my eyes out looking for a used good loader tractor that came with a cab. And I came across one that was like 100 and some miles away. We went and looked at it. And it was the Dewalt 7085. Had a cab. Heat didn't work. Air conditioner didn't work. No brakes. Yeah, that's always fun. A couple other minor things. But the guy threw me a price, the least he could take for it. It was more at that time that I was willing to give for it. And I told the guy, I said, here's my number. All right? This is what I can do. I'm not telling you that you can't get more. I'm just telling you this is what I can afford right now. And this is cash today. So within a week, he talked to his wife and they got a hold of me and said, we're going to take your deal, Eric. Now, granted, when I got it here, we had to buy a new door because the glass was missing out of the driver's side. Fix the wipers, fix the brakes. What else was wrong with it? We did a complete service from front to back on it. And we had to replace the glass in the back. We never did get the heater working right or the air conditioning. We kind of got off on a tangent. What I was trying to go towards with the lawn and garden is John Deere, and that's my zero turn. All right. I bought it used from one of our customers. What was it? 12, 13 years ago. And at that time, it was, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, but it was in really nice shape. Always garage kept. And he had decided he wanted to update, but he wanted to go with a bigger mower. And what he ended up doing was going with a Ferris. So I asked him, I said, what are you going to do with the zero turn you got? And he said, well, I'd like to sell it. So he gave me a price on it, which was less than what he was trying to get elsewhere since we had done all the work on it. And I said, I'll take it right now. I'll give him cash. That John Deere zero turn, other than a new set of blades every spring for it, usually a new set of belts every third year for it, every year oil change, transmissions checked. We go from front to back on that thing. The only problem I've had with that is the seat fell off. It had rotted, been there for so long, it had finally rotted the wooden part on the bottom of the seat. So I bought a new seat for it. But every year I say I'm going to get a new mower. And it's like, why? This one is still running and still doing what I want it to do. So I tend to push people when it comes to lawn and garden, like a zero turn or a rider. Claude's got the riding lawnmower, one of the newer John Deere's, and he loves it. Is go with quality. You can buy a Tractor Supply, Troy-built pony, for under $1,000 or whatever. But I'll tell you, we see them a lot. And usually when we see them, they're blowed up. They're junk. Cub Cadet, I've owned a few of those. They just don't take up to the abuse that a John Deere. John Deere has got a higher standard. Yes, you're going to pay more money. But a lot of times, folks, you get what you pay for. And you can either pay now or pay later. Some guys would rather buy 3 different ponies to get the same lifespan out of one John Deere rider. But I've seen some of those Cub Cadets and those Troy-builts and stuff not even last a year because they're just not built right. They're not built, the decks. I mean, if it just sees something, it bends itself in. And then you start having the blades hitting. Now, granted, Cub Cadet has gotten better with that because now they've reinforced their decks. But before, we're spending more time with a hammer, hammering these decks back out so that blades weren't hitting than anything on them. So I'm going to kind of wrap this video up because I don't want it too long. But those are just some of the brands that I've had really good luck with. That if you're on the fence and you're looking at something and you're saying, well, I'd like to have one of these, but I'm not sure, You know, Ed, you were asking about a tiller. I don't know of any of them out there anymore that, at least the new ones, that the tillers are holding up. You know, they're made so chintzy. I know if you go to like Simplicity Aaron's or something like that, I don't know if they make a good quality tiller, but I know that a lot of them that are out there right now are just so cheap. That's why I recommended to you one of the older Troy builds. You know, Claude's got a walk behind, because you want to walk behind tiller so it's not pounding the crap out of you. But with me farming and stuff, one of the first things I added to the farm was a 3-point hitch, PTO driven, 5-foot rototiller. And Claude and I use that, you know, to do up our gardens in the spring. We use it for the food plots. We also use it for tilling up wet soil ground to put corn in to feed the cows. But then Claude will use his walk behind tiller in between the rows throughout the summer months. So, and they just hold up. What kind of stuff are you using out there that you would put your name behind and say it's quality stuff and it's worked really well for me? I'd be curious as well. On that note, we'll catch you tomorrow, hopefully. If we still don't have power here, I've got phone and internet, and I've just bought 30 gallons of fuel in 5-gallon containers. So I know that around 8 o'clock tonight, I got to go out and fill that generator, and it will run through until 9 o'clock in the morning on a tank of fuel. So on that note, you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next video.